Dan Rather in Dallas, Texas, is setting up outside the building from which the murder took place in Texas and is actually at the murder scene now. Let's go to Dan Rather.
We're standing between Main Street and Elm Street on Houston Street in downtown Dallas. This is the intersection, Houston and Elm, where the assassination of President Kennedy occurred. Over there is the building, the Texas School Book Depository, from which the fatal shot was fired. 4 stories up, the window on the corner of the 4th floor. The assassin apparently propped his .30 caliber weapon up on some boxes and some school textbooks to get a good line of sight on President Kennedy as his car passed this intersection. Traffic moving smoothly there this afternoon. Traffic exceptionally heavy around this intersection, as literally thousands of people today have been interested in just driving by to see the spot where the president was killed. Directly across the street from the building from which the shot was fired, out in a park which is in somewhat the middle of a freeway cloverleaf, is a mourning wreath which was placed there early this morning to mark the approximate spot where President Kennedy was assassinated. Of course, the exact spot was in the street, but the wreath is less than 50 yards from the exact spot. There is some talk of a monument of some kind being erected by the city of Dallas where this wreath is located now. A whole block of people, perhaps we should say a line of people, a block in width, stretching between Main and Elm Streets along Houston, stand around, talk to each other, talk about what happened here yesterday. Directly across the street from the wreath, and also catty-cornered across the street from where the shooting occurred, is the location of the county jail. This is the jail to which Lee Oswald, the 24-year-old man who is charged with assassinating the president, is expected to be brought at any time. Oswald has been, since his arrest, at the city police headquarters, located about 1.5 miles from here, but we have indications that Oswald will be brought to this jail, the county jail, at any time. Police indicate that they may finish questioning Oswald, at least their initial interrogations, sometime late this afternoon or early this evening. This is Dan Rather at the now infamous corner of Houston and Elm in downtown Dallas. Back now to our special coverage in New York.
From Dallas, we have heard that a definite identification has been made of the type of rifle used in the assassination of President Kennedy. It was not a Mauser, as has been reported through most of yesterday and today, but an Italian Manlicher Carcanto, manufactured in the Italian town of Carcanto. The rifle was a high-powered one with a sniper scope attachment that permitted marksmanship from that 5th floor window to do the job on the President of the United States in just one single shot. And as we told you earlier, doctors say that President Kennedy undoubtedly never knew what hit him. Now let's go back to Dallas and, well, I'm told not immediately go back to Dallas. We'll go back there just as soon now. They tell me Dan Rather in Dallas.
The county jail is where 24-year-old Lee Oswald is expected to be brought any time now. He has been at Dallas Police Headquarters about 1.5 miles or 2 miles from this location since his arrest yesterday afternoon for the assassination of President Kennedy. But police indicate that they are perhaps finished questioning Oswald for perhaps a short time, and we're expecting Oswald to be brought here to the county jail, which is where prisoners normally are brought for longer internment before trial. Inside the county jail, this is what will face Lee Oswald when he is brought in. He'll be brought down this hallway, will be booked around the end of the corridor, and then be brought back to one of these cells. Outside the county jail, at the very corner where President Kennedy was shot yesterday, the corner is right over there, where you see that traffic moving. That's the Texas School Book Depository, the building in which the assassin concealed himself in a high window until the president's motorcade got below him. Up in the building, just below the top floor, the corner window just below the top floor is where the assassin stuck out his .30 caliber rifle as the president's car made a turn, much as these cars are making turns now, and got about 75 yards down and below the window. The fatal shot was fired. Now, early in the day, a wreath was placed in a green park right across the street from both the county jail and the Texas School Book Depository, a wreath of mourning to mark the spot where President Kennedy was shot. All day long, crowds have built up, then waned, and then again built up as people came by just to have a look at the spot, walk around the wreath. But now, as the shadows grow long in the afternoon, and all day long people have been hearing about this man, Lee Oswald, an obscure no one until 24 hours ago. As people began to hear about Lee Oswald and the circumstantial evidence the state says it has against him, the charges filed against him, the crowd now has moved to the sidewalk facing the county jail, away from the wreath. Not many people at this moment are looking at the building from where the shot came. Most of these people have seen it. Now they're waiting for a glimpse of Lee Oswald. It's not an angry crowd, or at least not outwardly angry. But then again, it's not exactly just another curious crowd either. It's difficult to describe how these people strike you when you see them in the flesh. They're average Dallasites, the butcher, the baker, the housewife, the candlestick maker, they're all over there. They want to look at Oswald and they want to see just who it is the state thinks did this terrible thing. We've seen crowds like this before, crowds of the curious. One recent one comes to mind in Jackson, Mississippi, when Medgar Evers, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People leader, was shot down at night with a rifle not unlike the one used to gun down President Kennedy. A crowd gathered around Medgar Evers' home there in Jackson, too. But it was mostly an angry crowd of Negroes, a frustrated crowd. At that time, the state had not said that it had a suspect. And that Negro crowd in Jackson after the Medgar Evers shooting was angry and frustrated. This crowd, curious and still shocked about what happened on this corner yesterday. What they have heard today is that Lee Oswald still denies any guilt. He admits nothing. This is Dan Rather in Dallas, Texas. Oswald has been at the city jail since his arrest yesterday in connection with the shooting death of President Kennedy. Once police are finished questioning him, at least finished with their initial interrogation, Oswald will be transferred from the city jail to here. Outside in front of the county jail, crowds have gathered all day long. The crowds have been here to see the wreath. It was placed in the small park just a few yards from where President Kennedy was shot. They came to see the exact spot in the street where the fatal bullet hit President Kennedy, and to look at the building, the Texas School Book Depository, from which the assassin's bullet came. The bullet came from a window, 1 story below the top story, the corner window. And after seeing the spot in the building and the window, the crowds turned their attention back to the jailhouse, hoping for a glimpse of the man accused of firing the shot. This is Dan Rather in the county jail at Dallas, Texas.